sheep. Peter Phillips knocked down the Sussexes' lies about the Queen. She hugged everyone except you. Harry's been talking more about how he never hugged the Queen. Once again, telling me they had a love but distant formal relationship. However, Peter Phillips, Princess Anne's son, says the reason Prince Philip's funeral was so hard was because they couldn't hug the Queen because of COVID. To me, indicating that she did in fact hug her grandkids at some point or another. The 38-year-old royal has shared many shocking revelations about the royal family in his new book, including an alleged fight between himself and his brother Prince William, his emotional struggle after the death of his mother Princess Diana, and the last words he said to Queen Elizabeth before she died in September. On Tuesday, TikTok user @SugarandSpicy went viral when they shared an excerpt of Spare narrated by Prince Harry, in which he writes about seeing his grandmother enjoying her Golden Jubilee concert in 2002. To see her tapping her foot and swaying in time, I wanted to hug her, he wrote. But of course I didn't, it was out of the question. I'd never hugged her and couldn't imagine any circumstances under which such an act would be sanctioned. Harry went on to describe the moment his mother Princess Diana attempted to hug the late British monarch. There's a famous story about Mummy trying to hug Granny, he continued. It was actually more of a lunge than a hug, if eyewitnesses can be believed, that is. Granny swerved to avoid contact and the whole thing ended very awkwardly, with averted eyes and murmured apologies. Being unable to hug the Queen after the death of the Duke of Edinburgh was one of the hardest aspects of trying to cope with his loss, her oldest grandchild has said. Peter Phillips said the image of the monarch sitting alone during the funeral of her beloved husband at St George's Chapel, Windsor, would have struck a chord with the thousands of families who lost a loved one in the COVID pandemic. Everyone saw the image of Her Majesty sitting alone, he said. It would have been the same for any other family. The hardest part is not being able to hug those closest to the person who's been lost. It's the same for a lot of families. There have been some great sadnesses, but at the same time you've got to try to take the positives out of these situations, whether that be new life or happy memories. That's what you've got to focus on. The sight of the Queen alone was one of the most poignant images from her husband's funeral, and this is thought to be the first time a member of the royal family has spoken openly about it. I love hugging people because I feel like it shows how much you care for people to treat them like family. But you have to read the room and think whether or not it's appropriate in that situation, and if that specific person would be okay with it. You can also ask, hey, can I give you a hug, goodbye or whatever. If someone doesn't want to hug you, you don't have a right to hug attack them. You just accept it and move on. Not every